On second thought, let's not have any
We're
credits.
visiting room 10 to see an exhibit on courtesy.
No, really.
May I present Mrs. Anderson and her son Bill, who is in the class.
They have to be
They
here. What's
too
your
have come
excuse?
watch to see if the people actually display courtesy. Watch how Pete and Marion act as host and hostess.
With the most and
They know
mostest.
that courtesy means showing respect, thinking of the other person, real friendliness.
You know, all that junk.
When Pete mentions the neat job Bill did on the exhibit, Bill is pleased. That's courtesy at work.
But we're at school.
You can see, too, that everyone in the class must have done a great deal of thinking about courtesy and much work to prepare these posters and the rest of the exhibit.
Yes, referring to girls as pigs is part of a healthy courtesy regimen.
Bill is especially proud of his part in the exhibit. The artwork on this large poster, ways to show that we are thinking of other people.
He's created Blondie.
We help to make our meetings with other people courteous by using such words as please. Whenever we ask for anything, it shows our friendliness and courtesy if we ask with please. On the other hand, thank you is a simple way to repay those who do things for you.
Put thank you in quotes if you're being
Another
sarcastic.
expression we need all the time is excuse me.
Pioneered by
It
Steve
lets
Martin.
other people know that you are thinking of them when you say, excuse me. Still, another way to smooth your meetings with other people is, may I?
Oh, yeah, that's a good
If
one.
you must interrupt, 2 words will show that you mean well. Simply, may I?
Oh, may
Notice
I?
how pleasant and thoughtful Mrs. Anderson is as she expresses interest in Bill's ideas on the poster.
Feigns interest.
Bill graciously shares the credit with his classmates. It was a joint project, he explains, during their study of courtesy.
Who needs science and
While
history?
Pete and Marion posed, Bill sketched the action.
Yes, kids, this was life before Google image search.
Please.
Cut. No. This one doubles as a political cartoon about tort reform.
With that sketch finished, ready for final artwork, Pete got ready to play the guest for the next pose. Marion was the hostess, offering him a cookie.
Second City Junior.
Thank you.
Pete showed that he appreciated her kindness.
Bill's not buying it. Drawing is a chance to make your friends look more fancy.
For the next demonstration, they needed another chair to make a sofa, and they needed a telephone.
To make a telephone.
Joan played the other girl in conversation with Marion.
Remember, girls, yes and.
Marion had to interrupt to answer the phone.
Please excuse me.
She was pleasant and courteous as she excused herself.
Her object work was impeccable.
In the next pose, Marion had something important to say, or else she wouldn't have interrupted.
That's called patriarchy.
May I?
Marion is considerate of her friends.
Now Bill's created Tintin.
Besides these examples of courtesy, there are others. For instance, Mrs. Anderson's way of constructive suggestion. And notice how Bill begins his reply.
Can it, Ma?
It's really quite good, Bill.
Really?
But
really
don't you
good.
think these courteous ways can be used in more than just these 4 situations?
Oh, yes, you're right, Mother. That's why we put the captions on the poster. We need them all the time.
Kinda effed up that you didn't notice that.
Yes, we do need these simple expressions all the time to show that we are thinking of the other person.
Who needs candor and vulnerability when you
On
have
the table
gestures?
is a scrapbook, especially prepared for the exhibit. It also showed consideration of the other person. The exact form of an invitation letter may vary, but this is an example.
Had this been
Dear
an actual
parents,
invitation?
An exhibit of our schoolwork and courtesy will be held in room 10 of the Sunnyside School on May 29th from 7:30 to 9 p.m.
During prime
We hope
time?
you can come. Your friends, the class of room 10.
Notice the details about place, date, and time,
Oh,
as
yeah.
well as a few words of cordial invitation. This type of invitation needs no acceptance, but the class prepared an example of one for their scrapbook.
They're OCD
Dear
like that.
friends, we thank you very much for the invitation to your exhibit in room 10 of the Sunnyside School on May 29 from 7:30 to 9 p.m.
During prime
We
time.
shall be pleased to see your work on courtesy. Sincerely yours, your parents.
Sincerely, little girl.
A letter of acceptance shows all the same details to be sure they are correct.
Even though we already said this letter isn't necessary.
There is also a sample letter of regret stating why the person could not accept.
We do not love you, signed, your parents.
On the next few pages of the scrapbook are drawings and poems Pete had made about courtesy when using the telephone.
Ooh. Now I see why he needs models.
Answer promptly. Don't keep the other person waiting.
Unless you're screening for losers. Now he's created Hammerman.
Friendliness is one of the main parts of courtesy.
It's right up there with conformity and obedience. Make your message clear when you're all out of beer.
It saves time and makes your conversation more pleasant if you speak distinctly.
I'm sorry I didn't catch that. Courtesy or no, this is funnier than Garfield.
It's courteous to be brief. Someone else may want to use the telephone.
Yeah, you pig.
So much for the scrapbook.
Yeah, it was a terrible idea.
Over here is a poster that another student made.
It says, "Come to the dark side, we have beer."
Be a good listener. It pleases the speaker to know you are really interested in him.
Oh, Bill's got
And
some
too,
competition.
You can learn much by listening carefully. Mrs. Anderson is being a good listener now, isn't she?
As far as Bill knows.
And then there's the matter of introductions. How will Bill introduce his mother and his teacher?
Awkward.
Mother, may I present
Wait.
Miss Barton, our teacher?
See how Bill shows respect to his mother by mentioning her first. Because she is the older woman, he presents Miss Barton to her.
As a tribute.
And he helps their conversation get started by explaining who Miss Barton is.
It's so nice to meet you, Mrs. Anderson. Bill has told me how much he enjoys your class. He's learned so much about courtesy.
And nothing
Why
else.
don't you teach him to make such a polite introduction? Perhaps Bill should explain that, Mrs.
She looks
Anderson.
kind of like JLD.
Well, in our practice in class, we learned that introducing people was just a matter of showing respect.
Mic drop.
Marion?
Oh,
I'd like to introduce my friend Pete.
Bill mentioned the girl's name first and showed respect by presenting the boy to her.
as a tribute.
You can mention either name first with two boys of the same age.
No, that's
Bill,
far
this
too
is
much
Pete.
license.
Pete Dawson, Bill Anderson. How do you do, Bill?
Hello, Pete.
Jerkwad, freak face.
So the poster that grew out of this practice is included in the exhibit.
Number 3, the
That's
launch.
how the class learned that introductions are really easy. Just remember to show respect.
Hey, are there going to be any more cartoons? I need the cartoons. I'm a visual learner.
Besides showing respect, your introductions can help the conversation to begin. Notice how Bill's mother introduces her friends, Mr. and Mrs. Hall.
How do you do?
Mrs. Hall, this is Miss Barton, the teacher in this room. Mrs. Hall is Joan Hall's mother.
Miss Barton, as hostess, offers her hand.
In marriage.
Next, Mr. Hall is presented to Miss Barton. And finally, Bill is presented to Mr. and Mrs. Hall. Remember the order?
Steak burrito bowl, extra guac.
There's a technique to shaking hands. No one likes to have his hand crushed by a bear, nor to clasp one like this, sometimes referred to as dead fish.
Just don't touch anybody. It's not worth it. All right, let go. Let go. Let go!
And
Jeez.
so the introductions have been completed, and the group settles down to friendly conversation.
You know, I'm not racist, but
Well, it's time to go now. What have you seen here? That is, what have you seen besides the posters and scrapbooks of the exhibit?
lots of Caucasians.
As you watch the host and hostess, their pleasant manner standing at the door to thank their guests for coming,
Pray for
as
them.
you see the guests reply graciously, you realize that it's the simple things, being friendly, thinking of the other person, and showing respect that make up everyday courtesy.
Ding, 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 ding,
Real
ding, ding, ding.
living courtesy has made the evening a pleasure and a success.
Yes, you too can avoid authentic relationships with other humans. Thank you, courtesy. The end. Oh, turds.
Hey! These are my friends.
Let me kill them. That's the most flattering picture of Neil Cavuto I've ever seen.
I don't think there is such a thing as a dull job.
Says the guidance counselor.
I haven't done anything. The chair just fell over with me. I don't see how that's my fault.
That's enough, Jim.
Not now, Miss Baldwin. The new material's killing.
Jim Brewster was like that.
A real douche.
Is anything wrong, son?
No.
Dad, what's a subpoena?
Come on, you can trust me with your troubles, can't you, Eddie?
We are truly and humbly thankful. Amen.
Thank you, American God, for all our American stuff.
Jim, blaming Jean isn't going to help now.
I know, but I'm going to tell Jean something she should have been told a long time ago.
You have a
Listen,
weird
Jean.
nose.
I want to be somebody.
I'm pretty close to being James Franco, I think.
Plan.
Stupid.
looking ahead.
Bogus.
As if you could tell what you'll be like in a few years.
As if you could coordinate your tie and your shirt.
Excuse me.
Wait, I forgot how you do! That is an unwieldy label maker. What do you get when you guzzle down sweets? Tonight, on a very special episode of Horse Guys. I wish I could quit you! Hey, Fun with Shorts fans, it's Josh here. Right now, we're looking at the first short I ever uploaded. I've been riffing short films for 15 years and posting them on YouTube for almost a decade. I get lots of emails, tweets, and comments asking when I'm going to do more shorts. With the help of Patreon and viewers like you, the answer can be soon and forever. Here's what I'd like to do in 2016. I want to create 2 new seasons of Fun with Shorts. That's 10 episodes times 2. But here's where I need some support from my friends. If you pledge a small amount, even $1 for every video I post, I'll be able to keep new episodes coming on a regular basis. You only pay if I post something, and you can cap your monthly total at any amount. As a patron, you'll see the new shorts before anyone else, and you'll have access to goodies like riff scripts and special patron-only videos. And just for signing up during this campaign, I'll give you a free download of Fun with Shorts Volume 7 or The Monster Maker. Pledge $10 or more per post, and I'll send you a DVD. If this campaign reaches at least $25 per video, Seasons 8 and 9 of Fun with Shorts will be a reality. If we get up to $50 per post, I'll riff a feature-length movie in addition to the 20 shorts. Hey, thanks so much for watching Fun with Shorts and making it a success all these years. I'll see you soon. Bye.
And to make a long story short...
Too late. Oh, and don't worry. All Fun with Shorts videos will always be free here on YouTube.